Well, hello, everybody. Glad you could join us today. I'm Mike Cooper with Action Coach, and I have with me Eric Haskin from Charlotte Media Group. And if you're interested in finding ideas and steps that you can take as a business owner that will accelerate your growth as a business during this downtime, and we got to be sensitive how we do that, you've come to the right place. So I want to take just a minute and let Eric introduce himself. And then we're going to get started. And while he's introducing himself, I'm going to get us live on Facebook. So Eric, take it away for a minute. And if there's a pause, it's just us navigating the technology and getting everything real.
Right. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Mike, for having me on today and sharing this time with you guys. Eric Haskin with Charlotte Media Partners. And what we do is web and digital innovation and website and digital application management and all of the things that go around digital marketing. So from a funnel to a web page to SEO to online advertising, that's what we do is web automation and integration. So if anybody has a question about how that might work for their business, I'd be glad to sit down with you and have some conversations about what you're doing today and how you might increase your leads and phone calls and foot traffic into your business through digital marketing presence and optimizations.
Well, thank you, Eric. Thanks for that introduction. And if there's ever a time when digital marketing and an online presence is important, now's got to be it. More people than probably ever have been forced to speed up their integration of technology into the business that they do every day. And overall, there's lots of challenges, but it's definitely part of the solutions that we're going to talk about here through these 5 points. So without further ado, Mike Cooper with Action Coach. I help business owners accelerate their success from where they are to where they want to be in good times and bad times. And also just know this, this webinar is set up to educate and help people. There's no cost to anything we're doing here. And both Eric and myself are offering our time freely to people who ask. So if you'd like help getting over a hump on something, or just like somebody to brainstorm with, I'm going to provide contact information for myself. And Eric, if you don't mind, do you want to go ahead and just shout out your email address or the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Yeah, it's Eric at charlottemediapartners.com, or you can reach me by phone at 704-560-2762. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, well, let's get started. So there's 5 steps that we've really identified that are critical to reposition a company. And as I started really weighing into this, there's 2 pieces: mindset matters and business pivots, specific business pivots, that as I really started digging into this and thinking through how best to share this with our audience, I just really realized that those 2 topics themselves were enough for a good 20-30 minute conversation, which is what we're going to have today. So just to set your watch, we're going to go about 20-30 minutes today. And then the last 3 pieces, I'm going to actually do those on a YouTube video that I'll upload to my YouTube channel, and I'll share that information a little bit later. So again, these 2 pieces are just so critical that I don't want to rush through this. It's one of the concerns or challenges that we have with some of these webinars. They're trying to cram 10 years worth of information into 20 minutes, and it just doesn't work. So we're going to pause, breathe a little bit, and do it right. So my contact information here is Mike Cooper at actioncoach.com, or you can go to my Facebook group, Action Coach Mike Cooper, the Business Accelerator, and you'll find this video and you'll find the follow-up 3 points there by Monday. So here we go. So one of the things that we find when we do webinars, seminars, and conversations, that 85% of the people who do these things, 60 days later, there's just no value. They're not actually doing anything with the information that they learn. And I don't know, Eric, is that something that have you found that to be the experience too? Sometimes that
absolutely, and the different people that I've talked to over the years that have either current or previous digital marketers or in their business, they might have got involved in some sort of program, and it's just a lifestyle type thing. It's integrating and taking action. And so there's the people that are going to do it and take action, and then there's others that kind of that are just on the fence about what they should do. And so it really comes down to making a plan and executing.
Yeah, boy, that's absolutely true, and that's exactly where I'm headed. We want this to be different. There's nothing to buy at the end of our time together today. But when we were putting this together, I wanted to make sure that I do my part to give you very easy actions so that you're encouraged to do something that's going to improve the success of your business. And there's good questions here. Why is it that people don't take action? Why isn't knowing enough? I'm going to do my part, like I said. And the answer is knowing isn't enough. If we all did everything we knew to do, everyone would be a peak performer all the time, right? But without accountability and a plan, people don't tend to implement things. So we're going to do something to help you out with that. First thing I want to start with, really, mindset really does matter. And I'm going to go so far as to say that mindset is absolutely the most important thing. So one of the questions that I have for our audience, I like this quote: "The mind has a powerful way of attracting things that are in harmony with it, good or bad." And I know that that's been, sometimes, I'm very serious about my faith, and I don't ever want to do things that are inconsistent with my faith. But there really is such a thing as once you get aligned in a direction, the world does tend to open up to you. Your mind gets free to see things you couldn't see before. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But one thing that I wanted to ask our audience really is, where's your mindset today? Would you say that you're more anxious and fearful? Are you concerned? Or are you optimistic and hopeful? Or maybe a step above that, you're inspired. Or maybe you've even gone a step above that and gone to committed or resolved. And, Eric, can you see what we're talking about here, just from your experience, the difference between these, especially as you get down here toward the bottom? Can you see what that progression, does?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, from people, well, I guess the anxious and fearful would be the ones that are unsure of what they should do. And then they get to that concerned state, and then they get to be, all right, so they've gotten some education on what they should do. So now they're more optimistic and hopeful.
Right.
And then, as they're working through it, they get inspired and think about all the other things that they're capable of doing. And then they get committed to and resolved to actually, doing those things. It's like, I'm going to fail or die.
That's right.
But I'm not going to stop trying. Right.
That's right. That's right. And somebody listening might say, fail or die. Come on, that's pretty serious. Well, yeah, to a degree, but hang with us on that, because he doesn't know it, but he just planted a seed for something I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes. So what's the best answer here? The best answer, and this is what we're really going to talk about, the only answer is committed and resolved. Now, can you have these other feelings? Yes. Is that normal? Yes. But the bottom line mindset that we've all got to have, if we want to take steps to pivot our business and be successful, it's got to start with mindset. We've got to be committed. And that's where I'm going to go next. So let me transition. Mindset is most important. Peter Drucker, who's considered to be the father of modern management, amazing guy, wrote great things that took us from kind of that carrot and stick approach to leadership to really addressing the full functional, motivational human being. He said that unless there is commitment, unless a commitment is made, there's only hopes and promises, but no plans. That's exactly what we're talking about. For many of us, this will just be a reminder, and I've put a whole lot of words here because I want people to be able to capture this. If you want to snapshot this, that's fine. If you email me and even ask for a copy of the PDF of this, I'll send it to you. I got no secrets here, but I don't typically put this many words, but there's so much that's important here. I want to make sure I captured it. So I want to share this message with you. You may not need it, but somebody else does. And there's so much here that I want to make sure that I get it all down. So the single most important ingredient in succeeding in tough times is not resources or economy. It's our level of commitment. It's the decision we make. And if we don't make a decision that we will succeed and we will persevere through this, we will find the answers, we will seek the resources. If we don't audibly and definitively make that decision, we're going to be pulled down, tempted, or distracted into doing less than that. It's just, I'll get into why in a little bit, but Henry Ford said it really well. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. And that can be translated a lot of other different ways. Now, if you doubt what I'm saying a little bit and you need some proof, you might be saying to yourself, well, that works in normal times, but we've just had a pandemic, an economic crisis, a flash crisis. This is a health crisis, an economic crisis, all in one. There's, as far as we know, at least for our lifetimes, there's never been anything like this. True. But here's the thing. In all circumstances, somebody's thriving. Somebody's thriving. And if you need some proof, just think about these. What's one of the hardest hit industries you can think of? Maybe your top two, Eric. What are the couple of the top industries you can think of that are hard hit right now?
Restaurants.
Restaurants.
Yeah,
now,
that's the biggest one.
Yeah. Eric hasn't seen this PowerPoint. So listen to this. Some restaurants have folded. Others are making ends meet by selling family meals, doing takeout. Even high-end restaurants that were former five-star dining establishments, they've said, what do we do? Well, what do we do well? Well, what we do well is we feed people. Well, what do people have a taste for now? Well, it's not expensive meals. So why don't we just make really good family meals? And there are businesses that they may or may not be thriving, but they're surviving in the industry that's one of the hardest hit just by changing their service a little bit. Go to Outback, their takeout service is jamming. Are they making a ton of money? No, but they're keeping people employed and they're staying in business. Another industry, I'm really pushing it here by asking Eric to get both of them right. I really haven't showed this to you, have I?
No, I didn't realize you were going to. I mean, restaurants is just, it's near and dear because we know a lot of restaurant owners in the Rock Hill area. So
can you think of another industry, broad segment that's suffering?
Man, like personal care, but I have no idea. So like salons and massage and all those folks, they had to close down too.
So those are a type of retail establishment. Here's another great example of a restaurant, and then I'll go to a retail establishment. So you know how these brewery bars have been popping up all over the place? Mm-hmm. Some of them are shut down completely. They can't do anything. I mean, in some areas, like there's a place in Rock Hill where you can get a beer to go. There's a specially approved cup that you can do it in because it's a brewery. They can kind of do 6-packs, 12-packs, etc. So they got a little bit of business. Others have decided to go into the hand sanitizing making business, and they're busier than they've ever been. They're hiring people. Now, are they going to stay in that business long term? I don't know. They might. I kind of doubt it. But it's that mindset that they had that we will survive. We will figure this out. And when they made that decision, the resources became clear. Another option is some shutter companies are closed down, and some are making face shields. The retail establishment that I was thinking of is Armani, the suit making company. They're now making gowns and scrubs. So instead of having all their factories shut down because clothing and retail was the other one that's really been hit. They've gone into garment manufacturing. So I wanted to take some of the hardest hit industries and just share that there are successes even in some of the hardest hit industries. Are there some that there are no ideas? I don't buy that. I got to be honest with you. You got to ask yourself, you got to ask yourself, not what business are you in? What skills do you possess? Who needs help? Who can you help with the skills that you have? And if you'll ask those questions, and I'm happy to have that conversation with anybody. I've got a list of 10 questions that I can help a business owner run through. And the light bulbs go on bright, but only if the mindset is open. And then next, if we say that and here's how this plays out. If we say that we hope that our business makes it through this pandemic, or we think that we might make it, we've already missed out on a lot, because think about it. Isn't it true that we often, when we say I hope, or if, or when, the truth really is, I don't have a plan. I'm not vested. I haven't decided. I haven't done the work. Isn't that, I don't know if that's true about you, Eric, but that's true about me. I hedge my bets. I don't want to be held accountable. So I'll say, I don't know, or maybe, or if, or when. Have you found that to be true with yourself or other people?
Yeah, in some cases, right? If I'm unsure of whether I actually want to commit to that outcome, I'll say it ambiguity, like I can, or maybe, or if,
Right.
or I hope to have that completed. But when I really have a goal in mind and a plan, we're going to do this, and as soon as we can get it done, kind of thing.
That's
Um,
right.
so yeah, it's a commitment. It's a different
It,
mindset.
it is a different mindset. And what it really is, what we're really telling ourselves is we're giving ourselves an alibi. We're giving ourselves an excuse. Now, about things that aren't important, that's really that's not that big of a deal. But about things that are extremely important, we've got to make sure that we decide. And obviously, I don't know if you caught there, but we have a raving fan in the background, our dog. I guess that really must have struck a chord with him, but he chimed in for us a little bit. So in contrast, think about this. We would never say this about a perfectly healthy child. Well, I hope he learns to walk someday, or I hope he gets potty trained. I mean, that's ludicrous, right? Because that's just no way to go through life. It's too important. Um, but isn't our work, our livelihood, our business, and our careers important enough to say, I will? Now, I get it. If you're watching this video, you're probably a can do type of person. And again, like I said in the beginning, this may or may not be about you, but I needed to hear this message. I've heard this message a couple times in the past few weeks. And if it's not for you, maybe it's for somebody you know. And in a minute, we'll get to some things that are specific about repositioning your business as well. But this message is important. Here's the thing. We are too valuable to the people who depend on us, to our communities, our friends, to accept maybe, if, and I hope. And look, I acknowledge God's will, but He gives us a spirit of strength, not fear. Um, we are born and bred and made to decide and be committed and to be sure. Now, it's also okay for us to decide, you know what, I'm not committed to this. And maybe the business that I'm in isn't sustainable. Maybe the effort that would be required to continue brewing beer right now isn't worth the time, and I need to start making hand sanitizer. So I'm not saying drive the car off a cliff. I'm saying find the path, decide that you're going to succeed, and then go about finding the how or the what. But make the decision that you're not going to let this virus dictate that. Now, this reminds me of growing up. My grandpa used to say this all the time. If and and were horses, the beggars would rise. And he used to say it to me as a little kid, and it really stuck with me. And what he meant by that is if and they're excuses, they're alibis, and only people who don't want to work, who don't want to put the effort in to what they care about, are going to say things like that. Tony Robbins. This is an extreme example, but Tony Robbins says in war, if you want to make sure you take the island, burn your boats. You got no choice. The military's come up on the island. We burn our boats. We better take the island or we're stranded, right? And in a figurative way, that's my point. We have got to eliminate failure or mediocrity as an option, especially in times like this.
Hey, Mike, that's that fail or die trying, right?
That's exactly right.
You absolutely are going to make it happen.
That's right. And about things that are important. But make the decision first. Make no mistake that decision is what precedes everything great. And that's what I'm getting into right now. Look, we are surrounded by resources, people, opportunity, and things that can help us. But I don't know about you, Eric, but if my mindset's not right, I can't see all the opportunity. If I get focused on my own challenges, my own limitations, I can't see or hear everything that's around me that could make a difference. But once we make the decision that there's no choice but to move forward and make this work, it's amazing how the resources and the opportunity and everything becomes apparent to us, right?
Right.
And what's that saying? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Right.
So
yeah, that's
put that in your pipe and smoke it. So now more than ever, it's time for us to be committed and to decide. Don't let this virus make the decision for you. And once we put away that doubt and decision, we're going to be capable of seeing what we need to tackle the job and the challenge at hand. Now, why is this specifically important? Think about what's happened here. March 15th, these are rough dates. We went from boom time to crisis and chaos almost overnight. And there were very few businesses who didn't have this happen. It could be chaos good or chaos bad. Lost sales, reduced revenue, reduced costs, or in some cases, more business than you know what the heck to do with. And then a couple weeks later, not only were we in chaos, but this thing isn't going to get better real quick. Now I got to think about shelter in place. I got to think about implementing these cuts that I've actually thought about and letting go of people who I love dearly or trust or have worked with for years. I've got to really make some tough decisions. It isn't like past recessions where we've had weeks and months, actually months, sometimes even longer, to really get ready. This came on like a hurricane with some warning, but it was much more fast moving than we expected. You know, and then we've got all the confusion and time with the PPP and EIDL applications and kids working, kids doing school at home and us working at home. And, you know, my gosh, what people had to swallow in just a short period of time. And then around April 18th, and I'm using that date because that's when the news came out that, that South Carolina had passed its peak number of infections on April 9th. And the governor shared that information and said, look, we're going to start up reopening the state here over the next few days and weeks. And now we had to go, so think of the range of emotions there just in 30 days. And now we've got to think about days to rehire and reposition and marketing, and are our customers still there? And here's the thing, if we're wavering or not in that I've decided resolved mode and trying to deal with this, are we going to make our best decisions? No. Are we going to be able to capture all the resources? No. We're going to be coming at it from a position of fear, not a position of strength. So then now we're in this gradual reopening mode, and we should all be in full execution mode. But this has happened so quickly that some people don't even have an organized plan yet. So again, if that's something you need help with, all you got to do is reach out. That's going to be one of the action items that we'll provide. Did you want to add anything to that, Eric?
No, you're just spot on.
Okay, cool. So I like to go at things different ways so that people have visuals that connect with the mind. So this is all about a point of power. And in the point of power here, this yellow dot right in the middle of the screen, you can either be above the point, which is green and energized, or you can be below the point, which is drained. Above the point mindset, we take ownership, accountability, and responsibility, which means we can steer our boat on our own in the direction that we choose to and we need to. And this is a position of power. Below this point is blame, excuses, and denial. Bed. You might as well stay in bed because you got very little get up and go. And here we feel powerless. These things are decisions. It's just another way of looking at it. And here's a great quote. It all works out in the end. If it hasn't worked out yet, we're not through it. It isn't over yet. So neat story or neat quote from Max Lucado. Another visual. You know, what we tend to think of, here's our circle of control that we tend to see. But our circle of influence is even bigger. What we have to be really careful about is we don't spend too much time in this circle of concern of all the things that can happen. We've got to really focus right now on the things that we can control, and that's that center circle. And then use our circle of influence for those resources that we need, and thinking outside the box. So again, just another way of looking at it. And then I'm going to give a resource here for the future. You might even need it right now. Look, if you don't think you have the resources that you need to get through this thing, get yourself in a quiet place. Be thankful for the things that you do have in life. Get yourself committed to making the decision that you're going to figure this out, and then make a list of all the resources that you've got. Make a list of all the good things or the top 3 things that you've been through before that are tough, personal or business. Think about the resources that you use to get through those, and then think about what those resources suggest to you about getting through this current condition or current crisis. And then now we're gonna transition over to the business structure, and hopefully you can see why I decided just to make this 2 pieces, because this is powerful stuff, and if we don't get it right, you know, we're just going to struggle. So as an organization, no matter how well designed, it's only as good as the people that we have who work in it. And that's a quote from D. Hawk. And that's extremely important when it comes to the business structure. What business structures right now require pivots? And I'm putting them all up here because they can vary from company to company, but these are different things. Look, the things companies need to be focused on right now, you got to know your numbers more than ever. What are your sales per employee? Is it going up? Is it going down? What's a goal? What are the roles in the company? Some of these companies that are kind of in shutdown mode, but they have PPP money, they're taking warehouse workers and having them do deliveries. They're having admin folks who used to do accounts receivable and collections and having them do social media with guys like Eric, do the postings that Eric comes up with for their teams. You've got to think how to reposition your team on the main thing. And right now, it's survive first, have a plan, and then it's thrive. That's squarely where our mindset is right now. There's cost structure pivots. A higher percent of our revenue right now needs to be dedicated to effective sales and marketing than ever before. It's a great opportunity to capture market share in most businesses. Your competitors are not likely listening to material like this and getting their mindset right and thinking about strategies. IBM, in every recession, they invested in marketing. Think of the great companies that came out of the last recession: Google, Starbucks, these companies, Amazon, Uber. All of these companies really had amazing growth during the last recession. Apple, they weren't sparing money on marketing. So effective marketing is not where you want to cut your money right now. I have one little example down here. I spent a lot of time in the janitorial business, and one of the easiest ways to cut costs in cleaning a building is have people empty their own garbage. That way the custodians don't have to go around to every desk. So what's your empty garbage can strategy? What's a bunch of little things that people can do that'll cut costs from outside vendors or keep people in your own business busy? And here's the thing: everybody in the team right now has to have a sales mindset. Maybe you have a lead generation meeting once a week where everybody brings lead generation ideas or prospects or best practices to the forefront. And we'll talk more about some of these strategies in some of our upcoming sessions. Other business pivots, the delivery model. Maybe you have a standalone store where people used to come to you. We profiled on a call yesterday a local chemical and supply company. And they've got a great storefront. Well, they've got to get people seeing inside their store perhaps without even coming into it, because less people are out driving by and seeing their storefront. So what changes do you need to make in your delivery model? Delivery versus walk-in. Restaurants are doing that. Drawing people versus hunting. You used to be able to go out to networking events, knocking on doors. Those opportunities may not be there. So how do you need to restructure your business to draw more people? It's a great time to identify weaknesses. And I hate to say it, but your weakest vendors, least flexible, least cross-trained employees, your underperforming processes, each one of these are a great subject for a 30-minute or an hour-long brainstorming session with the smartest people on your team. If you want somebody else to help you out, let me know. I'll help you with that. And then resolution or innovate. Now, I want to be really careful here because everybody talks about innovate, got to do things differently. I was having a conversation with one of my clients this morning. I said, who came up with a really great idea, but the time that he was going to have to invest in that idea was not the best use of his time right now. So what we decided is, rather than innovate and create something new, are there processes in the business that we have not yet optimized? So my guidance and recommendation is, before you innovate, why don't you optimize? Because optimizing an existing process, or getting more business from an existing customer, or taking an existing marketing campaign and getting more bang for the buck out of it, or taking your existing website and just making it better, is better than doing something completely new. Because look, we don't have a month, folks, to figure this stuff out. We've got a week-by-week game plan with a lot of businesses on what they're going to do this week to make next week better than this week. Think about what Waffle House and Panera are doing. They're selling groceries. It's still their food, but they buy food cheap. They have great resources, and they have a name brand. So they figured out we're in the feeding food business. People aren't coming in right now. We can't do a ton of delivery. So why don't we sell groceries so people can have Waffle House at home on Saturday morning or Panera for lunch? And it's working. It's keeping them afloat.
Hey, Mike,
Yes, sir.
one of the on that point of instead of innovating, success leaves clues, right? So people that have gone before you and been successful in the business, or other business owners, you can see what they're doing and then just fall in line and best practice, right? If it's
Right.
working for Waffle House, and if it's working for another local business to build family package deals for the restaurant business, then do the same thing, and then make sure you put your marketing together and put it out there in front of people and get it, on Facebook, social media, on the news, however, so that other people can, see that about your business and then, come in and buy your products just to keep you afloat. Like you're saying, rather than innovate something new, you can best practice, share somebody else's success and do what, because people aren't going to want to eat Waffle House every Saturday morning. Maybe they want to have some other good breakfast items. But anyhow,
That is absolutely true.
success leaves clues.
I love that. I don't remember where I first heard that quote. I hear it from Darren Hardy. Are you a Darren Hardy guy?
Yeah, that and a couple other things, but yeah.
Yeah. So that can be a whole nother call. Best practices for mindset. Um, Look, we've just got a couple of slides left here, but I want to reiterate or maybe dig a little deeper on what Eric just talked about. Um, Now is a better time than ever to do really simple things. Take a 5-minute video or a 3-minute video or a 1-minute video on something that the business community or the consumer community around you could benefit from knowing. Not even something that you sell. Ideally, it would be, but educate people on things that they need help with. Post it on Facebook. Post it if you can. Post it on your website. If you don't know how to do that, Eric will do a call with you and teach you how to do it. We do a call on Wednesdays where we teach people to do stuff like that. If you want to learn more about it, email either one of us. But this is a great time. It's never been easier to help people and market your business than it is right now. You just got to separate yourself from the noise. Don't sell, educate. Okay, a couple other things. This is really, I said I was going to give people a tool and something they can take action on. And this is one of, if not the biggest. Now, the slide I'm going to show you in a minute is going to blow your mind if you haven't looked at one lately because it's really busy. It doesn't have to be this busy. This is a big picture version. But I want to start with at the very top. In order to pivot my business, I need to know where I am right now. What am I measuring? What are the new activities? If I'm gonna take this business in a new direction, what are the new activities of my business? What are the new standards going to be? What are my new key performance indicators by team, by person? What's the proper cadence of activities? Do I need to be having daily meetings, weekly meetings? And gosh, don't meeting people to death. But right now with a remote workforce, if you're not having a morning call and an evening call, the morning is, here's what I'm going to get done today, and here's the purpose. The afternoon or evening call is, here's what I got done today, and here's the results. If you're not doing that, I think you're under leading your team. I'll just put it that way. And I've led teams of up to 800 people and had teams win national awards. So I've studied great people. I've worked with some great people. I know a little bit about it. I can share it. You can learn about my bio. I'm not here to brag about my accolades. I've done some neat things because of great people and people who I learned from. What are the outcomes of these activities? How do we update the metrics in the scorecard? Or do we even have a scorecard? What's a scorecard look like? I'm going to answer that in a minute. And then how do we communicate and make visible new scorecards or even our first scorecard to the team? And then train people on new activities and outcomes. Well, this is just a very basic tool that is very common. And I just did it in Excel. There's a whole lot easier, prettier way to do it. But this is just a real simple company scorecard, weekly dashboard, important things like revenue, lead generation, and other stuff. Your business may not have these, but if you're not on a weekly basis if you're not on a weekly basis, I'm going to look over here at my second screen. looking at the week ending data for sales weekly, number of invoices, average dollars per invoice. If you're not tracking this and then doing a little average here, and if you don't know how to do this, I'll send you this spreadsheet in Excel. It's not proprietary. I'll even walk you through how to use it. If you're not tracking this, how in the heck can we decide what we need to do with our business if we don't have good data? Some people get lucky for a long time or have great instincts for a long time. But in times like this, we can't afford to be wrong. And ultimately, everyone rises to the level of their incompetence. And a business will only grow to the level of the leader's incompetence. And as the business owner, if the business owner is committed to continuous learning, they're never going to run out. Because as the business owner continues to grow, the company will continue to grow. So this is just a shout out to tracking. Do you have to start with 15 things? No. If you have to start with 3, start with 3. If you need help on what those are, talk to me. But these are the pivots. Last couple, I want you to think about what's your greatest business challenge right now. Now, I'd have a hard time believing that everybody's highest priority isn't sales, profit, or cash flow right now, but I'll listen. But really think about what is your greatest business challenge right now. And after you've decided that your business is not only going to survive, it's going to thrive through this, I want you to take action. And I want you to harness the resources, the people, the team, the time on your calendar to dig into one of these at a time and see if what I'm saying isn't true. I guarantee it is. That if you will make it a strategic priority, that you are going to succeed and thrive through this, and you eliminate the doubt of any other possibility, and then share your conviction with other people you care about who will hold you accountable, you're going to figure this stuff out. I've seen people do amazing things already in this downturn. So again, our goal here ultimately is to go through the entire 5 steps. I decided to knock it down to 2, and I went to 40 minutes. Hopefully it was worthwhile for you. The rest is going to be on YouTube, where I'll address the rest of these. It'll give you the full picture. Again, you can reach me or the rest of these videos. Shoot me an email, and I'll send you the invite to my YouTube channel. Eric, if I share this with you, will you post this on the Facebook group of supporting local business? Is that something?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just post this. This is a great local Facebook community for business owners. And we just want to give people a community where they can connect. Also, I'll give a short plug. I don't have the link handy, but on Fridays, we have a call. Again, shoot me an email, I'll send you the link. We have a call where business owners get together for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and we talk about successes, challenges, solutions, and then ask each other, hey, is there any trade or any area where you need help with your business? And believe it or not, people are saying, hey, I need this type of vendor, and they don't know somebody right now. Well, gosh, we're having those people on the call a lot of the times, and we're making new introductions. The purpose isn't networking, but we're finding that as an outgrowth of it. So again, just reach out to me, and I'll send you an invite to that to get registered. And also, I want to keep my promise of 2 actions. Shoot me a note, and I'll get you set up. I do have the contact information in here, or at least you can reach out to me. Join our 11 a.m. call. Ask for a copy of the spreadsheet or the PDF. If you didn't get Eric's information, ask. If you want to be a part of the Facebook community, ask. The reason I don't mind just putting the email address in here is because it's really hard for people to copy and paste from a video, and I find that they're trying to write down these long URLs and they can't remember them, where they can remember an email. So it isn't just lack of technical prowess here. There's a little bit of intentionality, because it's hard for people to take action unless you go through the trouble of setting up all these complicated buy now buttons, which I don't want to do that right now. So again, being fast and innovating instead of creating new architecture. So take advantage of the complimentary Zoom business review if you want to. I'll go through all 5 of these steps. If you need marketing help, Eric or another one of our guys can jump on the line with you and help you out with the marketing piece. And our goal is always going to find at least 3 things that you can do for your business right now that'll help you out. Don't charge for it. We're just trying to help people. Um, and if you want to jump past that and get on my calendar, here's an easy way to do it. It's calendly.com/Mike Cooper -1. Boy, that's a mouthful. Anything you want to add here toward the end, Eric?
No, hey, I'm just glad you had me on, Mike. It was
Yeah.
good information, spot on with, take ownership and take the hill, capture.
Awesome. That's it, man. Look, this is too important of a time for any of us to have doubts. And then you'll see here that I'll get into this other stuff next time. But go out, crush it. I've heard the saying, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. That's a little simplistic, but if you can believe it and you can imagine it, that wasn't put there by accident. And the only question you got to ask is it the best use of your time, talent, capabilities? And if it is, go take the hill. If we can help you, let us know. So we're going to sign out for now. We appreciate you greatly for joining us. And with a little bit of luck, this all ended up on Facebook. We're going to test and measure and figure it out and do better every time. We'll look forward to talking to you soon. Signing out for now. Take care.